Hi everyone and welcome to the Coco and Flora channel. My name is Eva, I'm a knitter, a stitcher, a maker and merchant, and this is a video all about what I have been knitting and a little bit of sewing in the month of August 2024. So a huge warm welcome to you. I hope you are well and I hope you have enjoyed your August. You can find me by subscribing here, which would be really lovely if you'd like to. Also, I am on Patreon where I have free and paid levels. If you sign up for the free one, it's like signing up for my newsletter. You will get a monthly blog post to your email inbox and occasional free videos and maybe shop news here and there. And the paid tier has got a couple of extra monthly vlogs as well, and a 5% discount from my shop because that's now up and running. So you can also find me at cocoandflora.com where I sell project bags, notions, pouches and other fabric fancies. So let's get on to the knitting. My first project to show you is a pair of socks, and it feels like a cheeky little timeless project because I cast it on soon after finishing recording July's video, and I had finished them by the 1st or 2nd of August, so they feel like they were just an in-between sort of project. They're scrappy, so they took no time at all because they just seemed to knit themselves. Got them in this project bag that I made, which was a lovely little vintage fabric scrap which I got via eBay, and it's very turn of the season to me with the oranges and the yellows. And I just grabbed some random scraps really of yellows, a little bit of purple and a brown. I should go and get a sock blocker. Hang on a moment please. Hold on caller. I've spent so long setting up for this podcast and yet within 60 seconds I'm like, oh, here's something I haven't thought about. Okay, here we are. So I've got some lovely yarns in here. This is a lovely mini I got from Somerset Yarns. I can't think what it's called. It might be Funfetti maybe. This is a beautiful yarn from Bird Street UK called Cafe au Lait, which was a lovely gift from a friend because last year I grew some beautiful Cafe au Lait dahlias, and these are so faithful to the way the flower looks. It's lovely. My dahlias didn't come back this year. I think the tubers have rotted, which is so sad because they're absolutely gorgeous. This is a brown that I dyed. This is the leftovers of my Wendy Darling socks that yarn is by Giddy Yarns. This is a Beehive Yarns mini. I think that's all of them. So yeah, I used the Cafe au Lait for the heels, toes and cuffs. I feel like I could have done with more tonal to kind of break up all the pattern, but I really like them anyway. I knit them as I usually do, 64 stitches, 2.25mm needles, and I put waste yarn in and go back and cut in a heel at the end. So I haven't worn them yet, and I'm thinking I've got the brightly coloured socks that I knit with the hot pink and brown stripes. The brown might even be the same brown as this. I haven't worn those yet because it's been hot weather, and I've got these. I've got another pair to show you, so I'm thinking I might save a few pairs until December, and then it will be like presents, treating myself to some brand new socks to wear throughout the month of December. So I will probably put these away for a while. Is there anything else I need to tell you about them? I've actually made some notes so that I can tell you correct information for a change instead of just making stuff up. No, I think that's everything. It is of course all 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I don't know why I said it like that. I think just because I feel like I say that all the time because I knit a lot with that kind of yarn. So that's my Scrappy socks. I've still got loads left. Because what I was going to do was knit a sort of micro striping sock with the cafe au lait and the brown. I don't know if I've got enough left to do that still. I'll weigh them and find out. Maybe if I did that and had a third contrast for the heels, toes and cuffs, it might be possible. Oh, a lip balm. Cool. I'm going to keep that out because I've finished this project. And I've still got these other scraps which I think I will just knit into my Scrappy blanket. My dressmaking form was looking very bare, so I've just draped my blanket on here for something for you to look at while I'm waffling on. So I'm getting on quite well with that. I would like to have done half of this by the end of the year, which I think would be 2.5 skeins of the base yarn, because I'm holding 2 lots of fingering weight yarn double, and I'm on the second skein, so I need to finish that and make a start into the next one, and then I'll feel I'll be about halfway. So yeah, I'm collecting plenty of scraps to add into that. Sticking with the sock theme, I've done a quick cast on of a pair of DK socks. You've seen this yarn before because I knit myself a longer pair. They've proven to be really nice cosy house socks, and my eldest was admiring them, and I said, oh, I've got plenty of the yarn left because it was a 150 gram ball, so I'm knitting her a pair of just ankle length ones, and I've started the second, but I need to finish that off. I'm doing a heel flap and gusset for these ones as the pattern, which is the DK Vanilla Socks by Crazy Sock Lady, and it's a free pattern. Did I already say that? I don't know. So this is, I think, West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab DK in the punk colourway, and this was a lovely present from my friend Sarah, so thank you Sarah. I'm getting 2 pairs of socks out of that, and there might even be some more left over at the end. So what I'm going to do, my eldest is at uni, but quite locally, so she's been here a lot over the summer, but I think that from September she will not be coming back as often, so I'm going to start sending her little care packages. So these are going to be part of the first care package. So I'm thinking of adding in things like a little sketchbook because she's an art student, some chocolate, some nice tea. So if you have any tips or thoughts of things that you like to include into care packages for students, I would be grateful to hear it in the comments. And then sticking with socks, I've just done a very spontaneous cast on about 3 days ago, so I've made quite a lot of progress since then. They are living in a little Christmas pouch. It's like a street scene, a cosy street scene with a tree and some cars with trees on top. This is a large notions pouch of my design. I don't have any in the shop at the moment, but I'm thinking of adding some in, and maybe in Christmas fabrics, because I find that these are actually something I'll grab when I just want a little project bag if I don't need a pattern, because it's too small to fit a pattern in. So it's perfect to just put in a 100 gram cake of yarn or 2 50 gram cakes side by side, and your needles and your sock. So this is, oh, I've lost the tag. Oh, here it is. This is Little French Meadow, who are a UK based yarn company who don't die anymore. This is from an advent calendar I got when I first became a knitter in 2017. It says it on here. It's a self-striping, and I have meant to knit this up every year since I got it, but December always gets busy. I last minute decide to knit presents for people. Last year I got as far as caking up the yarn, and so this year I thought I'd get a head start and actually get it onto the needles, but you know how it is with self-striping. I've got totally carried away in the last few days, and I've got really far. I started on 9-inch circulars, 2.25mm. These are Chow-Goos, which I really love. It's my favourite sock knitting needle. But I've moved on to Knit Prosing DPNs in the same size because I'm decreasing for the toe now. And you can see there I've put in some waste yarn because I'm going to go back and add in a heel. I did 1x1 twisted rib at the top, and it's a really lovely fun pattern. So yeah, not much more to say about those other than I'll finish that one, I'll get the second one on the needles, and then I will try to put it on the back burner to work on some other projects, because since I've cast this on I have abandoned my plans to try and get things finished off. I'd really like to start September with as clean slate as possible with regard to knitting, because I don't know about you, but September, my knitting heart is so full of plans because it feels like the season, particularly here in the UK. I mean, I've had to pull this curtain too because it's so sunny outside, but in my heart I'm ready for crispy autumn walks and morning mists. So I'm really ready to cast on some new things, and so I'll show you what I should be finishing off so that I'm ready for my fresh start. So here in one of my favourite project bags, because it's got all sorts of cute little creatures on, I am knitting my Ranunculus. I think I have shown you this before. Had I cast it on the last time? I think so. I have got 200 grams here of DK weight yarn, designed by Ali of Little Drops of Wonderful and dyed by Lay Family Yarns, and it's called Wonderland Walk, and I'm knitting the Ranunculus. Ali of Little Drops of Wonderful has got a make along for her yarn, and Emma of the Eldenwood Craft podcast has got a make along for a late to the party pattern where you feel everyone has knit it but you. So I knit a pink summer Ranunculus in the spirit of that make along, and now I'm knitting this one. So this is more of a wintry one for me because of the colour and because of the cozy merino yarn. I think this yarn is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I am just knitting the first size as I did for my other one. That seemed to work out okay. I do think that the gauge is a little bit smaller. My first one was made from Drops Bell, which is a cotton linen viscose blend, I think, and I think that the gauge is a little bit smaller on this one because I'm knitting it on 6mm needles, which is the recommendation for the pattern, but where I start with the neckline I have only got a 5.5mm needle, and where that was no problem with my pink one, it is slightly tight here. It does go over my head and everything. I've checked. I told my Patreons that I'd cast on too few stitches. I hadn't. I'd cast on the right number of stitches. I think it was just the smaller needle that had made it appear quite tight. But isn't that knitting up nicely? So I am hoping I have knit to the recommended distance from under the sleeve to here, but I tried it on. I put it onto waist yarn and tried it on, and I still felt it was a bit short. So I'm going to knit a few more rows, maybe even 10 more before I do the ribbing, but I'm going to do less ribbing than I did last time because I felt that looked a little bit long. So, and then I'm hoping to have enough yarn left for some kind of sleeve. If I could get down to sort of elbow length, I'd be happy. And then I'm planning to wear this over dresses. So perhaps if I had a jersey dress with long sleeves that, you know, were just form fitting, then hopefully this would be a nice wintry layer. You can't really see the lace because it's so dark of a yarn, but I think I've done it correctly this time. I messed it up a little bit last time, but I think that I've done it okay this time. You've got like this kind of pattern of 4 dots, which I don't think I've somehow even got in my last one, but they are in this one. But I guess you'll see it more properly when it's finished and blocked, and I'll try it on for next time. So if I hadn't put this down in favour of my sock, I'd probably have got it done by now, but I'll try and work on the body of this tonight, and then I've still got, really, if I say Saturday and Sunday can be included in the end of my August knitting, and we'll call Monday September, when I'm really feeling it this year, because I don't know, it just feels like big changes. I'm feeling a wheel turn, so I'm looking forward to just fresh new things in knitting and everything else. So that's my Ranunculus, which of course I should say is a pattern by Midori Hirose, or I think it's Knit Cafe Midori, or Midori Hirose. And there are loads and loads of sizes, of course, but I'm just sticking with the first one because there's so much ease in it that I think will work out okay. I'm knitting on Knit Pro Zings again, and my 5mm or 5.5mm needles are the Leica, I'm not sure how to say it, pardon me, Driftwoods, which are really lovely. I like those, and they were just a 9-inch circular, so I used those until the stitch count went up enough that I could move on to my 6mm. So for, you know, the short rows and the first couple of rows of pattern, I was on the smaller needles. So I think that's all I can tell you about my Ranunculus for now, but do check out Little Drops of Wonderful and the Eldenwood Craft podcast if you are interested in the make-alongs that have inspired me to knit this. Sticking with the sweater theme, I have managed to cast on, knit and cast off a sweater this month. I kind of didn't mean to, but it ended up that I made it as a video for Patreon, and as I got towards the middle of the project I thought I could finish this and do the complete video, so it seems a bit incongruous to be knitting a woolly sweater in August, but that's what I did. And it was because I was knitting the beautiful Hercule Durkle yarn, which is also a Lay Family Yarns collaboration with Gaynor of the Tales of Cuckooland podcast, and I had got some of that yarn in fingering weight and cast on the Pim Pom Shawl by Laura Penrose. A lovely, lovely pattern, lovely, lovely yarn, but you know when sometimes things just don't connect, and I was not enjoying knitting on it. I think the fault lies with me, nothing to do with the pattern or anything. I had gone down a needle size to make sure that I didn't run out of yarn, because the requirements are quite that you don't have loads of leftovers, and I think that because of that the fabric that I created wasn't quite right for a nice drapey shawl, and that might not even have been true, but I just didn't want to knit on it, so I decided to frog it, which is not something that I often do, but as I had been knitting on it I kept imagining how lovely the yarn would be as a Lento sweater, which is my favourite sweater. I knew I didn't have enough for that because I had 200 grams and I didn't want to get more yarn. With the Lento it should be one skein of fingering held with one strand of fingering held with one strand of mohair. Didn't want to do that because I just wanted to see the Hercule Durkle as it was. So then I had this brainwave of what if I held the 2 skeins of Hercule Durkle together but used a contrast yarn, and I used the same one that I was going to use for the shawl, which is Drops Nord, which is a wool alpaca nylon blend. It is a fingering weight, but it's quite a plump one. It's kind of leaning more towards sport weight. This is the blush colourway. There's the drop snored tag, and the blush colourway is colour 20, and it worked out, and here it is. It's a little bit creased from being in my podcasting basket, so apologies for that, but I'm super happy with the results. I can't tell you how much of the pink I used, because I did go back and lengthen the bottom. I'd finished with about 10-12 grams of the Herkle yarn left, and it'd come up a little bit short, so I went back and took out all of the ribbing and added about that much until I ran out of the fingering weight yarn, and then re-knit this. But when I was unravelling the original ribbing, the combination of knits and purls and 2 strands together meant that it was unsalvageable. I did waste that yarn, so I think I've used 100 grams in total with my second go at ribbing, so it's not loads of that. And yeah, I did manage to get this whole sweater out of 200 grams of the fingering weight yarn. I knit the size 2, I believe, and I just did, and through choice I just did they come to about here, sort of elbow length sleeves, because I just felt that it would look nice, and I really like that. So here's the Herkle close up, and I really feel like this project has done it justice and that I'll really enjoy wearing it. I think that 2 fingering strands held double would be a different gauge to a fingering and a mohair, but it hasn't really made any discernible difference. I haven't changed size or needle size or anything like that, and it still fits in a way that I like. I will put some footage in here of me in it for you to see. And my only note for this is I did use the recommended needles. I can't remember what they are, but I didn't change that. I always knit it as described. And the only note I would have is that usually I deviate from the pattern in that I just cast on, knit half the amount of ribbing required and carry on, whereas what you're supposed to do, which is what I did this time, is do a provisional cast on, knit a double cuff. Is cuff the right word for your neck? Double neckline anyway, and then you fold it over and you join your live stitches and your provisional cast on together to knit it in to make a folded neckline. And the only thing that I wish I'd done differently is when I joined them together I used the pink, but I should have used the Herkle, because you've just got one row that's slightly, let's show you on the front, because you've got one row where the short rows occasionally drag a stitch downwards from the pink into the Herkle, so it would have just looked a little bit neater if that had been in the Herkle, and you wouldn't really see it, but it's not a big deal, I don't think. I think that's just something as a knitter that I am noticing. So yeah, I really love it, and I can't wait for cosy weather to wear it. So that's my Lento sweater. I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing. If you've watched before, you might recognise my Boardwalk blouse, which is a pattern from Poison Girls, and I had blocked it and it was sticking out like that because I knit the size medium, and then somewhere along the way I told myself I was knitting the size large, and when I came to pick up for this tiny bit of ribbing I picked up way too many stitches, and then I blocked it too aggressively and it was sticking out like that. So thanks to all your kind and helpful comments, I did what most people suggested, which was to just dip the shoulder part back into a warm soapy solution, and I just sort of stretched it out to reshape it or unshape it. I pegged it up on the washing line from here because this bit wasn't wet, so there was no weight in it. It was a sunny day, it was dry within a couple of hours, and now it's much more wearable. It's not perfect, and I don't know if you can see it, but the ripple is back, which was the thing I was trying to block out in the first place, but I now consider it to be wearable. I'll see if I can stand up a little bit and show you. I'm just leaning on the radiator so I can be at the right level. So yeah, I'm really pleased that it was salvageable, and I'm very keen to knit more of these. I really think it would be a nice piece to wear. My eldest would like one, so before I knit myself another one, I'm going to cast on one for her. She would like one in different shades of blue, so I have the yarn and I'll try. She has a December birthday, so I'll either try to get that done for birthday or Christmas. And then I'm so keen to try lots of different colour combinations in this, even though there's a million other patterns I would like to knit. I do think once you find something that you like to wear, it's nice to try it again. I mean, this Lento is my fourth one now, I think, and I can definitely imagine making more of those too. So I think that's everything for my knitting news. I've got a very brief bit of dressmaking to show you because honestly I don't want to show you, but in the spirit of honesty and sharing the ups and the downs so that it doesn't look like everything always turns out great, although I'm sure if you're a regular viewer of mine you know that's not really the case. But I made something and I don't like it. Again, I showed my Patreons this and I said, oh, I'll keep an open mind, I'll, try it a few times and see, but I put it back on to take some film to show you and I don't like it. I'll put in some blink and you'll miss it video or a photograph here of it. It's the Avenir jumpsuit, which I made one in a blue linen, and I was keen to try it again in a slightly lighter weight fabric, which I did, but I think I've made the wrong fabric choice again. It's a beautiful pattern. This is a Liberty print. I got this from eBay as a bargain many years ago. There was 4 meters of it in the end, so it was a good candidate to make the Avenir because they're quite big pattern pieces, because it's like an oversized design. But I bought this as a viscose crepe, but I don't think that there is viscose in it. I think this is a synthetic fabric, because although it's super lightweight, it's got this element of bounce in it, and I think it's that element of bounce that just makes me feel, I feel like a clown in it, and I know I'm not going to wear it, and it's really a shame because I think maybe if I'd done something different with this fabric it would have been okay, although I don't tend to wear synthetic fabrics, particularly since menopause. I like a nice breathable natural fibre. So this is the Avenir jumpsuit by the Friday Pattern Company. Yep, did everything exactly the same, but I don't like it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it, whether I could, they're really big legs and everything, so potentially it could be cut up and turned into something else, but I'm not sure. I used a random elastic from eBay and it turned out to be quite tight, and so my note from this is don't cut elastic to the measurements without first checking that that corresponds to your measurements, because I cut this 2 inches longer in the end than the pattern direction and it's still slightly tight on my arm, whereas in the first one I cut it exactly to the pattern direction and it fitted fine. So I don't think I will be revisiting this pattern in the near future. Absolutely nothing against the pattern. Everyone else I've seen in it looks really wonderful. I just don't think it's quite right for me. I have a suspicion that in the right fabric I might like it, and I have worn my linen one and I'm getting used to that. I don't mind it, but I do think this is a definite miss. I feel like I've had quite a few misses with my dressmaking and it's a little bit discouraging. I thought that because I started dressmaking in my late 30s, I had loads of issues with fit because I found that I had so many adjustments to make on patterns that it almost was not worth starting with a pattern, because I've got narrow shoulders that I always needed to adjust, then I had a fuller bust that I always needed to adjust, then I didn't go in at the waist as much because I'm more rectangular, and then the only thing that was ever the same was that my hips were in proportion to my upper bust. I was grappling with that for years. Then I went into a very sudden surgical menopause. My body shape, my physiology, everything I needed from clothes completely changed, and I really didn't know what to make or how I wanted to look or what I wanted to wear. I thought I'd come out of that now, and I was like, yeah, now I'm going to make my postmenopausal wardrobe, but I'm still struggling to find things that work. So I did like my metamorphic dress that I made last time, so I'll probably make some more of those. But I think that it is that factor of the ever-changing landscape that is making it difficult for me to find the right things to feel okay in. It's strange. So yeah, I think that's what's made it difficult. I think I'm going to, over the next few weeks, make some cozy casual jersey style things, just like tops and things, just to kind of keep exercising the dressmaking muscle but diffuse the kind of, I feel like I'm maybe really looking for these perfect things that will be so easy to wear and I'll feel nice in, and maybe that's just not an achievable goal right now, so I don't know. But yeah, not going to be wearing this one, I don't think. So that's all my making news. So the next part of the podcast is going to be me promoting my business and showing you my products that I've got for my shop update, that sort of thing. So I'll keep that separate because it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you do want to stay and listen, I'll be super grateful, because it's how I earn my pennies and buy the things to make the stuff to make the podcast. So I have been making for my shop, but I have some employee news first of all. I have Flora here. She'd really like to show you the dress that she made for when she won Employee of the Month, and I gave her some fabric. I actually gave her the leftovers from my metamorphic dress, and Flora has made herself a Regency style dress, and she has also made a beautiful headpiece which she wanted to show you. She has made that out of flowers that she has grown herself in our garden. These are straw flowers and they're so cool. See if I can get this to focus on them a little bit. They're so cool because they grow dried. So Flora has glued them onto a little fascinator and made herself a glorious and dashing headpiece and a nice empire waisted dress. Kyle won Employee of the Month this month. He hasn't chosen his prize yet, but we all felt that might be motivational for him to win an award. So we'll see what he comes up with for the prize that he wants. So Flora has only just made this, so she didn't use it to model the products in the shop this month, but you might see her modelling that next month. And here are some of the products that I have been making. I did a blog post on my Patreon about some quilt blocks that I had made. I've never made I call it a sawtooth block. I don't know if it's that or a star block. And I really loved them, but when I put them together they were too busy because, oh hang on a minute, I've got one more to get. They were too busy when I joined them all together to be a quilt or put them next to each other, because I'd used this rosy fabric for all of the sort of half triangles, because it's cool when you put them together, that will then look like a diamond, but it was too much. There was no plain bits for the eye to rest on. So this one is not actually for sale because despite my best efforts it's come out a bit wonky set in its frame, so I'm going to keep this one. I'll probably use it to put English paper piecing projects in or something like that, but I've used all Heather Ross fabric for these blocks. So the ones that I am selling, I've got the Owl and the Pussycat, and that's set in a lovely pale blue cotton linen blend, and it's got roses inside. No, it hasn't got roses inside. I put blue and gold metallic speckle in this one, and that's a medium project bag for about 200 grams of yarn, I would say. It's a zipper one. And then I've got two drawstring ones. This is another real Dog Days of Summer one for me, because this mustardy gold reminds me of like school satchels, and then the picture in the middle is very much end of summer hazy day, and this is the one that's got roses inside. And I used the same fabric as the lining to make the drawstrings because I wasn't quite sure what kind of drawstrings to do, so I just made them out of fabric. Again, you can probably fit 300 or 400 grams in there, but I recommend them as a 200 gram project bag, so you've got plenty of space really, but that would be up to you. And then the other one that I've got is a pink one with this beautiful little bee. Again, all Heather Ross fabrics, and pink inside that one. So that's the project bags. And then I turned my attention to more quilting. I used my Ruby Star fabrics again. I've got this amazing Ruby Star anniversary panel, and it's just full of little squares with illustrations from their various designers, and I want to use every single little square as a centerpiece for a bigger quilted panel. And I started to make these little notions pouches. So these are smaller than the one I showed you that I have my sock in. These are just for your general stitch markers and scissors and things like that. Each of these has got a really cute little strawberry, little metal strawberry charm on. This one, and it's the only one that I've done it, I accidentally laid the zip down the wrong way when I was sewing it, so it opens, instead of opening from right to left when you're holding it with the panel on the front, it opens from left to right. So I don't think that really matters, because you can open it either way and you could just turn it round if you really wanted to, but I have listed that one for a little bit of a discount just in case that is annoying to anybody or bothersome. I'm wondering if you're left-handed, if you just are accustomed to opening zips from left to right, or if it is actually nicer to have it with your dominant hand opening the zip. I don't know, but I wasn't sure if that would be something that was suboptimal. So that one is slightly reduced in price, and that one has the cute little yarn ball in the middle. This one I love. This has got a little bunny in the moon, and I've got different striped fabrics on the back of each one. This one has got a white lining as well. It's like a white a very subtle polka dot. Then I've got Mr. Mouse. He's got a peach and metallic gold lining and pink and mustard on the back. I've got a little bottle of perfume with a butterfly and very much mustardy and pink theme for this one. This has got the white inside. I've got dolphins with a dusty pink lining and pink and mustard on the back, and another really super cute one. Look at this little guy. Love that horse. So all of the fabrics around them are Ruby Star. I did a kind of quilt as you go log cabin type panel. I had so much fun doing it, and I've got so many more squares that I'd really like to just spend the rest of my days making patchwork panels out of these cute little things. The horse has got white as well, and yeah, so they're all in my shop already. I've managed to do that before the podcast, seeing as I'm late to podcast. So please check out cocoandflora.com if you're in the market for any fabric fancies. And I think that is everything that I have got to share with you. So look out for my Patreon blog on the first Friday of September, because Flora may be featuring again in that blog. The frogs came to me and said that they would like to be more hands-on with my content creation, and they would like to take over the blog every now and again. So they'll be sharing their news with you next Friday over there. And all that remains is for us to say thank you so much for watching. I would be so super grateful if you feel like it to comment below, because I find interacting in the comments super encouraging and motivational. So I really hope to hear from you there if you would like to chat, and I'll catch up with you again next month. Thanks for watching. Have loads of fun with your making. Bye for now.